You know, for as long as we've been human, it's been our one constant companion up there in the night sky. It pulls on our oceans, it guides our calendars, it fills our myths. But what if the moon is more than just a cosmic accident? What if it's actually an artificial cause? It fills our myths. But what if the moon is more than just a cosmic accident? What if it's actually an artificial construct, a deliberate creation? Well, that's the incredible theory we're digging into today.
We're about to investigate a theory so radical, it completely rewrites the story of our planet. A theory that suggests the moon was put in our sky for a very specific reason. So get ready to look at our closest celestial neighbor in a way you never have before.
So in this explainer, we're going to walk through the entire case file. We'll start with the strange facts that make the moon such an anomaly. Then we'll dive into the hollow moon theory and this idea of a grand cosmic design. We'll even look at some of the alleged evidence, and finally, we'll try to figure out what it all might mean for our past.
Our investigation kicks off not with wild speculation, but with a series of really unsettling scientific facts. These are oddities that have honestly puzzled astronomers for centuries and have opened the door to some truly radical ideas.
If you've ever witnessed a total solar eclipse, you know exactly what this means. It's this breathtaking moment where the moon perfectly, and I mean perfectly, blots out the sun. It's beautiful, but it's also an almost impossible coincidence. So, how is that even possible? Well, it all comes down to a cosmic ratio that is it's almost unbelievable. So the first part of the equation is size. The sun is this enormous star, right? It's about 400 times wider than our tiny little moon. Logically, it should just dominate the sky. But here's the other side of that equation, the part that makes the magic happen. The sun is also, you guessed it, almost exactly 400 times farther away. It's this precise ratio of size to distance that creates that stunning optical illusion. It's like an astronomical bullseye that just seems way too perfect to be random. Now let's just talk about scale for a second. Our moon is unusually huge compared to its host planet. I mean, while other planets in our solar system absolutely dwarf their moons, Earth is only about 4 times wider than ours. This makes the Earth-Moon system a total statistical outlier. It just doesn't fit the pattern.
And the list of anomalies just keeps on going. The moon's orbit is a near-perfect circle, unlike a lot of other moons. It's also tidally locked, which means it rotates at the perfect speed to always show us the exact same face. We never see the dark side from Earth. And then there's its density. It's much lighter than it should be, which brings us to our next piece of evidence.
So back during the Apollo missions, the astronauts conducted these seismic experiments. At one point, they intentionally crashed the lunar module into the surface. And what happened next stunned the scientists. The moon reverberated. It rang for hours. A solid body just isn't supposed to do that. This startling result led some to ask a pretty radical question. What if the moon isn't solid at all?
That seismic data, combined with all the other weirdness, is what fuels one of the most controversial ideas in all of astronomy. So let's explore this theory that our moon is not at all what it seems. At its core, the hollow moon theory says that our moon is an engineered object, basically a massive, hollow sphere that was placed here on purpose. Proponents argue this would explain its weirdly low density and the strange way it reverberated like a bell.
The heart of this whole debate really comes down to density. Supporters of the theory say a hollow structure is pretty much the only thing that explains the moon's lightness and the way it rang. Mainstream science, on the other hand, offers the giant impact hypothesis. This is the idea that a Mars-sized planet, they call it Theia, smashed into the early Earth. This catastrophic impact blasted a ton of molten rock into orbit, and this debris, mostly from the lighter outer layers of both planets, eventually came together to form our moon. And that would naturally create a moon with a lower average density.
Okay, so let's set the debate aside for just a moment and follow this theory to its logical conclusion. If the moon is artificial, who built it? And maybe more importantly, why?
The theory proposes the existence of a hyper-advanced, ancient alien intelligence, and they're sometimes called the architects. This hypothetical group would have a kind of technology we can barely imagine, capable of building and moving a planet-sized object. But what for? The proposed motive is, well, it's nothing short of breathtaking: to terraform Earth. The moon's gravitational pull is absolutely critical. It stabilizes our planet's wobble, which gives us predictable seasons. It creates the tides, which some scientists think was a crucial step for life to move from the oceans to land. In this view,
The moon is basically an engine designed to create and nurture life.
The theory lays out this really stunning timeline. It suggests that billions of years ago, these architects found a volatile young Earth and positioned the moon precisely where it needed to be, turning the entire planet into a cradle for life.
Now, here's the most speculative part of this whole idea. It's the notion that the moon isn't just a machine, but it's also a message. That hidden inside its hollow shell, there's a blueprint, a schematic of its own design, just waiting for the intelligent life it helped create to one day find it.
So, if the moon is an engineered object, you'd think there might be some clues on the surface, right? Well, proponents of this theory claim the evidence is hiding in plain sight in official NASA photos. But this is where the debate gets even more heated.
For decades now, independent researchers have been poring over NASA images, pointing to what they call lunar anomalies. We're talking about features that just seem out of place, perfect geometric shapes like squares or triangles in the landscape, huge structures with straight edges that cast these long, sharp shadows, or even objects that look eerily like towers or ruins. They argue these things simply could not have been formed by random meteor impacts. However, there is a very powerful counterargument: pareidolia. This is our brain's natural tendency to see patterns where none actually exist, like seeing a face in the clouds or that famous face on Mars. Skeptics argue that all these so-called anomalies are just tricks of light and shadow on a really complex alien landscape, interpreted by a human brain that's literally hardwired to find meaning and structure. So, where does that leave us? On one hand, we have a celestial body with a whole list of scientific oddities. On the other, a radical theory to explain them and a bunch of disputed photos from its surface. It's time to really weigh the implications of all this. This quote perfectly captures the grandest version of the theory. It's not just that the moon is an artificial satellite, it's that the moon itself, its perfect size, its perfect distance, its perfect orbit, is the message. A signal broadcast across billions of years, basically telling us that we are not alone. And that really is the ultimate question this theory forces us to confront. Is our existence just a fluke, a lucky roll of the cosmic dice, or was the deck stacked in our favor from the very, very beginning by some unseen, unknown intelligence? The answer, either way, changes everything we think we know. So, are we an accident or are we a design? What do you think? Does the standard scientific explanation satisfy you, or do all these weird anomalies point to something more? Let me know what you think. Drop your theories in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe for more deep dives that challenge what we know. And as always, keep looking up.